Hello and welcome. I'm Weiser Cornell, and this is Support for Stressful Times. My heart is heavy today. I feel emotion coming up as I think about the shootings, the killings, 10 people dead yesterday in Boulder, Colorado, shootings earlier this week in Atlanta. And so this is about support for stressful times, and some of what stresses me so much about these times is the violence that happens. I feel for everyone. I feel for the families of the victims. I feel for the members of their community. At least 2 people here today are from Boulder. And a friend of ours owns a cafe next to that supermarket where the killings were. So we get to practice the skills that I like to teach for being with emotional states. The important thing is that we're pausing. Whatever you might be feeling now, if it's about something that brings you grief and sadness or a heavy heart, or if it's something that brings you anxiety or anger, let's pause and allow that feeling to be here. One of the things I see so often in my work is that people try to decide what to feel. Or I shouldn't feel that way. I shouldn't feel so bad. Thank you, Georgia. I shouldn't feel so bad. Uh, I can choose to feel another way. I don't think so. I don't think we choose our feelings. I think feelings are like yawns. They're like sighs. They're like something that emerges in us in response to the situations we're living in. And our feelings, our emotions also connect us with others in the world and ourselves. They're part of being alive. So, did you ever go through a time when you felt numb? When your response to your own feelings and to the life around you brought numbness? Well, that's something that happens. So we could also acknowledge numbness if that's coming. But whatever you are feeling, would it be possible to be present with it, to be present with how we're actually feeling? And that's different from pushing it away, arguing with it, saying, no, it's, can't feel bad about everything like that. Got to get on with life. And it's also different from being drowned by the feeling. So the feeling can be really big. It can be something that I take time with. And with grief, there's no limit on the amount of time that it might need for me to be with it. But I am here. And so another key is I am feeling this and I am here. How are you feeling today? I see some nice familiar names. There's Jamie and Sarah. I'm glad you're here. I'm going to just wipe my eyes. There is a kind of language you've probably heard me teach if you've heard me before, that is a way of being present with feelings without being drowned by them. And the language goes like this: I am sensing something in me feels. But sometimes when the feeling is a present grief, a grief or something present or any kind of grief, it doesn't feel like something in me. So try that out right now, okay? So take some way that you're feeling right now. And take a moment to pause and sense your body if you'd like to do that with me now. Pausing, sensing. And then start a sentence with the words, I am sensing. And then finish that sentence. I am sensing. What are you sensing? Haja wrote in the chat, unexpectedly, there's a feeling of freedom around me and inside me. Okay. Doesn't have to be something bad. Lily wrote in the chat, I'm feeling so heavy with sadness, and that's about the Boulder shootings. You're writing again, Lily. Sadness and fear, and something in me feels so violated. Interesting distinction. I feel sadness and fear, and something in me feels so violated. Nancy writes, I'm sensing grief, fear, a feeling of ungroundedness. Yeah. Jennifer writes, something in me feels trapped. Yes. Nadia writes, I'm sensing something wants to distract from emotion. So there's emotion, and there's something wanting to distract from that. So let's take this step by step. We're pausing and sensing. And when we pause, we say, I want you to say, I am sensing. And then let the sentence finish based on what you're aware of. Now, sometimes we say, something in me feels. Something in me wants to distract me. Especially when it feels like a part of me and not all of me. Yeah. It can also help to say something in me when we'd like to feel some more space, some more sense of groundedness, some more sense of present awareness. So Connie wrote, I feel overwhelmed, too much negativity happening. Yes, I hear you. But what can we do with that? I feel overwhelmed. You might want to try, I am sensing something in me feeling overwhelmed. You can even say, a big something in me is feeling overwhelmed. And the reason we say it that way is so that we can follow that with, and I am here with that. So there's overwhelmed, and then there's, I am sensing something in me, a big something in me is feeling overwhelmed, and I am here with that. And what's really remarkable to me about this process that I'm showing you, I am here with the feelings that I am having. That's not trying to make the feelings go away. It's not trying to make them any smaller. They can be as big as they need to be. I am just a little bit bigger if I say, I am here with that. Yes. Nancy writes, I really like this approach because sometimes my feelings are overwhelming and I feel paralyzed by them. Good. And I'm glad this approach is something that helps you at those times. So you would say, I am sensing something in me feels overwhelmed, and something in me feels paralyzed by that. Yeah. Susan writes, something in me is feeling it wants to know it is safe. And I am here with it. Lovely. So nice. Yeah, Kat writes, I'm sensing sadness and it feels like I have no control of anything. Yeah. And so, Kat, you would say, I'm sensing something in me that feels it has no control of anything. And I am here with that. So the I am here with that brings in what we call self in presence. Self in presence is your ability to acknowledge whatever you're feeling. And what I love about it is you don't have to be in some special state of mind, like calm or having meditated for hours or something like that, in order to be self in presence. We can do it by this language and by turning toward how we feel. And it isn't instant, it brings a little shift. Yes. Uh-huh. Daniel writes, hi, Daniel. Daniel writes, I'm with it and appreciating it. This helps it, but it says it's so angry and helpless. Okay. So this is the next step, right? So you feel something, and then you say, I'm sensing something that feels this way, and I am here with it. And if that is successful, the one you're with, your feelings, will begin communicating more with you. In Daniel's case, that place in him said that it feels so angry and helpless. What would Daniel do next? Say, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. So I'm the listener to this something in me that I have been able to turn toward. And it says to me, I'm angry and I feel helpless. And I say to it, compassionately, right? There's very different ways of saying I hear you. You could say, yeah, I hear you. Right? Which if you know somebody who does that, it can be so infuriating. No, we're not saying that this is I hear you in order to dismiss. This is the kind of I hear you that's really empathic. So saying to that angry part, I really hear how angry you are. And you can add, no wonder. Yeah. So this is like empathy, super empathy, empathy as a superpower to the part of you that's angry. I really hear how angry you are. No wonder. And tell me more. That because our feelings can be here, the parts of us that carry feelings, that are bringing us feelings, they are allowed to be here. We're not going to make them go away. We're not going to tell them they don't make sense. We're not going to talk ourselves out of feeling them. And we're not going to try to fix them. And the reason for that is that emotional process is a natural, forward living process. There's no reason to get stuck in emotions unless we are fighting them. So, by saying, I am sensing something in me, you're creating an environment inside yourself in which your emotional states, we also call them your parts, can take their next steps of life. What's going to come after the part lets you know how angry and helpless it is? We'll find out once we say back to it, I really hear you. Sharon writes, I'm sensing something in me crying no to the murders. Yes, I really hear your no. Uh-huh. I'm saying that to Sharon. And something feeling helpless. So beautiful. So beautiful. Acknowledging something crying no and something feeling helpless. That creates an environment where next steps can form. The process we're talking about here is a process of life moving forward. Sadly, many of us got the idea that emotional states are the problem, right? If only I could stop feeling so bad, if only I could stop being so angry. And maybe we had early life training about emotions that gave us that idea. Emotions are the problem. I have to just just think differently, right? I have to just figure out how to not be upset. I don't see it that way. Emotions are not the problem. I think lack of being present is the problem. Everything we feel is on its way to something else. Emotions, the name emotion, it's something that's in motion. It, it arises, it moves through us, it's about living. Emotions have evolutionary advantage. They were developed along with our bodies. Animals feel emotions too, and we are animals. Emotions help us respond. We also have logic, wisdom, calm to help us decide not to respond in certain ways that our emotions urge us to do. That's okay. Because this is not about taking action, what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about being with yourself in an inner environment, an inner space where your emotional states, and sometimes we call them parts, get to take their next steps. What's next? Did you ever feel angry? And when you sat with the angry feeling, you realized, oh, actually, uh, I'm more disappointed than angry. That's what I mean by an emotion taking its next step. You were angry, but the next evolutionary step of that angry feeling was disappointment. Stay with the disappointment. There's a next evolutionary step there too. So Nancy writes, oh, wow, it's like my body knows I'm listening because my body's calmer and I'm breathing. I'm here with my feelings. Wonderful. I hope many people are experiencing that right now. That's really what we're here together for in these webinars, is to be able to, because many of you know what I'm saying, right? You've heard me say these things before. If you haven't, if you're new here, welcome. I'm trying to speak in a way that makes sense to everybody. But it's not so much the information I'm giving, it's that you're giving it a try. You're seeing what happens when I notice how I'm feeling right now. And often our feelings are in response to things that are happening outside us. In fact, they're usually in response to an interaction between what happens outside us and who we are, our own hopes and dreams and our past experience. And so feelings arise there. They make sense. If you ever have a feeling that seems to not make sense, I don't know why I'm so upset. How wonderful. What a great opportunity to pause and turn toward whatever that feeling is and listen to it, because there's some way that it does make sense. And if it seems surprising and seems like it doesn't, I don't get why this bothers me so much. Wow. It's such a great opportunity for curiosity. Anybody feeling something right now that you feel like you don't know why it's so strong or it bothers you so much? Let's have you try it out. Yeah, yeah. Tahara writes, it's like giving a hand to the feeling in a way like empathically engaging with a child. Beautiful. Yes, it's just like that. I am here with this. I am here with this. So different from a method that argues with feelings, pushes them away, tries to make them smaller, tries to move them out. Ah, so Daniel writes, he gave a try to the part that felt so angry and said it back with a no wonder and a small sense of calming. Oh, see that? that is the other nice thing about feeling how you feel in an embodied way, pausing to sense in your body how you feel, is that you get immediate feedback when you do something that helps. These are moments of calm in the midst of stress. You pause and say, I'm sensing something in me feels this way, and I am here with that. And you might actually put a gentle hand on your body, but anyway, I am here with that. Nice. Yeah, 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 yeah. Jennifer writes, something in me feels so sad for the terrible decision the shooter made. Yeah. And we've made terrible decisions too, haven't we? I have regrets for some of the things that I've done in my life. None of them had to do with shooting people, but some of them resulted in people being hurt, and certainly in me missing opportunities. And when I sense those moments that I regret, I sense back. Oh, I have my regret right now, but I sense back to those earlier times. In every case, I can feel that I was missing some resource that I would have needed so that I could have been more present with myself and not rush to make a decision that turned out not to be a very good one. Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah. So I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Just feels exhausted. You feel exhausted. I am sensing the feeling of exhausted. And I'm sensing something in me that wants to know why and feels frustrated that I don't know why. And so if you say hello to the something in you that feels frustrated at not knowing why, it may calm down and you're able to just go back and feel the exhausted. Because the exhausted itself is where you'll find the sense of meaning. And first, we just feel it. First, we just feel it. Andrea writes, what if I would like to cultivate more optimism and love? How might I go about that, even as I listen to the feelings that I have? Well, that's such a wonderful question, Andrea. And let's talk about optimism and love. So I am sensing something in me feeling so sad about 10 killings yesterday in Boulder, Colorado, and all the people impacted by that, whose lives have changed in abrupt and unplanned ways by those losses. And I am being with those feelings in me. I feel love for those places in me that feel that way. So I am really a more loving person at this moment because I'm turning toward the difficult ways I feel and saying, I hear you. I'm with you. Yeah. So love is not hard to get to from the method I'm showing you. Now, optimism, we can start with a longing to feel more optimism. That's something you are feeling. I am sensing, you don't have to say something in me. I am longing for more optimism. And listen to that place. Listen to that place that feels a longing for more optimism. Like, how else might it phrase that? So let that longing for more optimism speak to you about what it wants you to be able to feel. Would it be a lightness of heart? Would it be a sense of safety? Those two things are very different. So which is it for you, or is it something else? What is it wanting for you to be able to feel? So although I said we don't choose our feelings and we don't choose to feel differently than we do, we can notice what we're wanting to feel. So why are those different? Well, when we notice what we're wanting to feel, we're still fully acknowledging how we do feel. So I am sensing something in me feeling very sad, and I'm also sensing that I have a wanting to s- feel a sense of hope and movement about the tragedies that strike often in my country. Yeah. And we can make room for that wanting. Mm. Yes, David writes, these days the world is giving us so much material to work on. I like your attitude, David. Yes, it's, of course, too bad, but it's also, okay, I get to practice with this now. I'm not happy that scary and tragic things happen, but I am happy that I have some processes and methods, and I have a community of people that supports me in practicing them. Yes, Jennifer says, I'm sensing something in me that has a glimmer of hope. And that's another thing, which is hope may come in glimmers. Optimism may come in glimmers, like the little tiny flame that might need to be protected from the wind. Seriously, this does happen. Something in me or I start to feel some hope and optimism. And then there's another part of me that wants to crush it. No, don't feel that way. That leads to trouble. You'll be hurt. You'll be fooled if you don't just feel cynical about everything. Does that sound familiar to anybody? So I, as the self in presence, want to make a protected space, like a windbreak around a little fire. And and that one doesn't get to talk to this one. I am here. I'm here listening to the glimmer of hope. And I am here turning toward the one that wants to crush it and saying, so it sounds like you are really worried about something. Do you want to tell me what you're worried about? Because better to talk to me, okay? So I want that one that wants to crush this one to tell me what it's worried about without talking to the other one. That's my job as self in presence, to stand in between parts of me that want to crush other parts of me. Wow, we got to a lot of interesting stuff today. Yes. Mary writes, when you said, I'm longing for more optimism, I immediately saw the daffodils poking up in my garden. Now I see them too, Mary. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your participation today. Yeah, wonderful. Yes, so as we close for today, let's remember I am sensing how I'm feeling. I'm present for how I'm feeling. If I need to feel a little more space, I say I'm sensing something in me feels that way. But my most important point today was to be able to say to your own feeling states, I am here with you and I am listening. And I also said that every feeling that you have is on its way to something else. So there's no need to worry about our feelings or try to change them as long as we are the environment in which change is possible, where we're not trying to limit or push away how we feel, then things do naturally change. Thank you so much. See you in 2 weeks. Take care. Bye for now. Keep up the good work. Bye.